Alright, first we're going to start with a 35mm shank. Start wrapping your thread down the middle. You can use 20mm shanks. I just prefer 35 as they are a little bit more roomy. Next we're going to take some braid. I just like to use the Suffix Performance braid. Clip about 2.5 inches off. And when you're measuring it out, make sure you have about an inch off the butt end of the 35mm shank. So on the end, your fly is going to be about 2.5, 2.75 inches. Just going to capture that braid. Make sure it's nice and tight. We're going to advance that thread all the way down, enclosing the gap between the actual shank and that hook keeper. Making sure everything is nice and uniform. Now we come back up. We're going to turn the fly over. If you have a rotary vise, you can do that quite easily. If not, just take the hook shank out and turn it over the hook, or the articulated shank, excuse me. We're going to feed the butt ends of the thread through the actual eye of the hook. I sometimes wrap the extra thread around, but honestly, just pushing it over and back on itself and then capturing it again is just as effective. It's not going to go anywhere. Turn that fly over. Next we're going to take some red zonker strip, cut about 1/4 of an inch off. Take one of the butt ends and just capture that. I like to whip finish to kind of keep everything together. Just one whip finish will do in case something happens. And just wrap that around the butt end of the fly. We're going to want to advance our thread forward almost to the halfway point. Then we're going to take some blood quilt marabou, strip that, kind of clip it down to where the hackle, or the, the actual vein is exposed and pretty flexible. Strip those fibers away to capture that with the thread onto the shank itself. We want to capture it about just a few millimeters ahead of the red zonker strip we tied in. I like to whip finish one more time, kind of keep everything uniform. Want to advance that forward. And we're just going to want to palmer that hackle back. Take that thread. And just capture that last little bit. pull the excess fibers back and capture those. It's really nice. Next we're going to take some dyed UV polar chenille. Use it in olive. Take another little bit longer, almost a half an inch. And really just capture that in there. All the while folding those fibers back. And I'll do another whip finish just to secure everything. Just a good habit to get into. And we're going to do the same thing with the marabou. Wrap it pretty tightly. Folding those dangling fibers. Cut that tag end off and wrap that nice and tight. Folding those fibers back again. Next we're going to take a piece of olive marabou. Do the same thing as you did with the white one. Strip those fibers back on the hackle, or the vein of the marabou. And clip it and tie it in just behind your other polar chenille. Make it another whip finish just to secure everything in place, and then start doing wrapping again. This time we're going to advance the marabou all the way to the front, all the while keeping everything in place. Wet your fingers if you need to kind of keep that hackle back. And we're just going to tie that in. This will cooperate. There we go. And do some more wraps. Make a nice head on it. And finish with a couple of whip finishes. I like to do 3 because I'm paranoid. I don't like to use head cement. I feel it is bulky and takes away from the uniformity and the cleanliness, the clean look of the fly. But that's just me. After you do the whip finishes, you want to clip it. And next, we're going to add the hook. I like to use size 6 octopus hooks by Gamakatsu. You also can use Allen hooks. I like to use red ones, kind of give that extra flash that I think I like about the fly. Just kind of bend the braid back and slip that in and put it in between the loop. Oops. And there you go. And that is finished. Whoops. Don't want to poke yourself. This is unweighted. The only thing that's weighting down is the actual shank itself, but it is still an excellent fly to throw in riffles. And there you have it.